Okay, so this one's going to be a little bit different. Instead of doing an individual figure review, I'm just going to kind of do like a cumulative review on the, these are the Transformers Prime Commander series figures. I am going to go in depth with each of them in separate videos. I'll give them individual reviews. I'll transform them, so you can see that if you're curious about the transformations. But this one I'm just generally going to talk about the line and kind of a comparison to some of the smaller and larger figures in that same series. If anybody's a fan of the Transformer Prime, I'm a big G1 fan. I didn't go into watching Prime thinking I was going to enjoy it, but I actually like it quite a bit. I'm pretty much, no, I did finish Season 1. I haven't watched any of Season 2. I'm just waiting for that to kind of complete so I can watch it in its entirety instead of just as a piece, you know. But anyways, enough about the series. So the figures themselves, you got Bulkhead, we've got Optimus Prime, we've got Starscream here, and Megatron. These are all Commander Series figures. Scale-wise, I know a lot of people concerned about scale. I mean, I think they're fairly show accurate. I'll pick up Starscream and put him next to Megatron in a second here. I do imagine he's a little bit smaller than Megatron, at least it seems to be so in the show. But in the toy, I think he's about the same height. But honestly, in the Commander Series, not really a big concern of mine. Now, what really surprises me about these guys, the articulation on them is pretty good. I have a couple of the Legion class, which are the smaller series, and they're not anywhere near as articulated. They're a lot more like the old Minicons, I guess I would compare them to. They're just kind of like chunks and pieces that move and separate. On Bulkhead though, so let's take this weapon out of his hand for a second. So I mean, he's got elbow articulation and rotation there, which you can get a full range. So it's pretty good. I mean, for a figure this size and to be, you know, to have a decent vehicle mode and a great robot form, I mean, I think it does pretty well. You can see on these, I mean, he doesn't have a backpack problem, but he has a lack thereof. I mean, he's got this big gaping hole right there in his back. I guess what they say you can do is you can take the weapon and kind of peg it in, but that doesn't really change it much. It's just the same kind of big gaping hole, and now it's got a blue thing. So, I mean, like you can see, for the legs, I mean, he's got good articulation of the legs. The knees do bend, but I don't believe on him. See, the toes, part of the transformation is that the toes come in that rotation from top to bottom, but they don't go up any further. They get blocked by that little piece here. So that's about as far up as they go. So if you're doing any sort of posing where you need to have, you know, kind of a toe up, it's not really going to happen on him. But I've been able to get out some decent stuff. I had him in a diorama in the other room, but had to bring him in here to set him up, so it is doable. I've had a little bit of trouble with him standing too, because he is pretty top heavy. You got to kind of lean him up. Same deal with this is not Megatron, this is Optimus. Two weapons. I'm just going to leave them in his hands for the time being. You got the little the front of the truck here, the windows. It's actually part of the transformation. This doesn't move, it's just one solid piece, but it does look good. I'm not a big fan of all the clear I don't know why they decided to make this clear blue plastic on the back side of it. Whatever, I didn't make the figure, but I don't agree with that. I've noticed a lot of this, especially in the Voyager series class too. They've got weird, I know in the Voyager series they're so they can light up with the gimmick they run on there. I don't know, it doesn't do it for me. And the light up gimmick on the Voyagers never seems to work right too. Optimus, now we were talking about on Bulkhead about not having the toe pivot. You do have that on him. Again, it's part of his transformation, but because it folds down instead of up, you can. So you can bend his toes up if you need to pose them on like that. I mean, it works. So they're decent little figures if you want to have a nice diorama set up or just set up a display and have them posed up and looking cool. They're not bad, and they don't take up as much space as a lot of the Voyagers and the Deluxe Series figures do. These ball joints they have in their arms, I mean, they're nothing fantastic. They're open, so I mean, I know this will pop out. If I were to turn it and twist it, it's just going to slide right off there probably. But they're okay. It's a little loose. It'll stay though. I have a feeling if I keep playing with it, it'll probably die out on me there. Now the shoulder plates on here, they just got a ball joint in there, so they do kind of, they'll move with the arms. I feel like they don't move enough, but on a figure this size, honestly, not a big complaint. Now, we'll do Starscream last, because I got some issues with that figure. He is one of my favorite characters, but I do have a problem the way that they made him. So, Megatron. Now, Megatron's pretty good. I've got him, I've got the Voyager class of this as well, and they're pretty well made. As far as the Commander class goes, I feel like his weapon's a lot more in scale than the Voyager series figure is, and I'm going to do a review on that later on with transformation and all that so you guys can see. But I mean, his blaster, that's pretty in scale for what the show has and what the figure needs. Same thing with the sword here. I don't recall seeing that too much in the show, but it's still it's a decent feature to have, and it's removable too. So if you're not a fan of it, bam, pop it off, you're good to go. Same thing on him though. He does have a lot of the same kind of clear plastic. He's got it in the chest area, I guess the lower chest area. Got his little Decepticon logo in his chest there, surrounded by clear plastic. And in the back too. Again, I don't know why. I don't see the need for it. It's not a deal breaker by any means, but it just looks goofy. So, I mean, 9 times out of 10 you're looking at him from the front, so it doesn't really matter. But, you know, it is what it is. Now the thing on him, he has pretty much 0 foot articulation whatsoever. There's no, you can't move these toes. They're nothing, they're flat. So you can move his knees. He does have this kind of double joint in the knee there. That's part of his transformation. Obviously it's not going to go that far up. But you can, I mean, you can get some pretty decent posing out of that. It's just, you're not going to be doing anything with the feet. Same ball joints in the hips and all. No sort of hip rotation. These are all one solid piece, I believe, for every one of these figures. But not too bad. Shoulder plates on this guy, I do like this better than what we have on Optimus, because the shoulders are actually attached to the arms. But you know, they get a little bit in the way. You got that piece right there. You're not going to be moving past that, but you can bring it up, and they do rotate with the arm. So not too bad. Not too bad at all. I think Megatron's probably one of the better looking ones out of this series. Bulkhead obviously looks pretty good in my opinion, minus the whole gaping backpack syndrome, but he looks okay.